Apj Abdul Kalam was born on the 15th of October 1931 to a Tamil Muslim family in the pilgrimage centre of Rameshwaram on Pamban Island, then in the Madras Presidency and now in the state of Tamil Nadu. His father Jainul was a boat owner and imam of a local mosque. His mother Ashimma was a housewife. His father owned a ferry that took Hindu pilgrims back and forth between Rameshwaram in the now uninhabited Dhanushkodi. Kalam was the youngest of 4 brothers and 1 sister in his family. His ancestors had been wealthy traders and landowners, with numerous properties and large tracts of land. Their business had involved trading groceries between the mainland and the island and to and from Sri Lanka, as well as ferrying pilgrims between the mainland and Pamban. As a result, the family acquired the title of Marikalam Yakivar, wooden boat steerers, which over the years became shortened to Marakia, with the opening of the Pamban Bridge to the mainland in 1914. However, the businesses failed and the family fortune and properties were lost over time, apart from the ancestral home. By his early childhood, Kalam's family had become poor at an early age. He sold newspapers to supplement his family's income. In his school years, Kalam had average grades but was described as a bright and hard-working student who had a strong desire to learn. He spent hours on his studies, especially mathematics. After completing his education at the Schwartz Higher Secondary School, Ramanathapuram, Kalam went on to attend St. Joseph's College, Tiruchirappalli, then affiliated with the University of Madras, from where he graduated in physics in 1954. He moved to Madras in 1955 to study aerospace engineering in Madras Institute of Technology, while Kalam was working on a senior class project. The dean was dissatisfied with his lack of progress and threatened to revoke his scholarship unless the project was finished within the next 3 days. Kalam met the deadline, impressing the dean, who later said to him, "I was putting you under stress and asking you to meet a difficult deadline." He narrowly missed achieving his dream of becoming a fighter pilot, as he placed 9th in qualifiers, and only 8 positions were available in the IAF. After graduating from the Madras Institute of Technology in 1960, Kalam joined the Aeronautical Development Establishment of the Defence Research and Development Organisation by Press Information Bureau, Government of India, as a scientist after becoming a member of the Defence Research and Development Service (DRDS). He started his career by designing a small hovercraft, but remained unconvinced by his choice of a job at DRDO. Kalam was also part of the INCOSPAR committee working under Vikram Sarabhai, the renowned space scientist. In 1969, Kalam was transferred to the Indian Space Research Organisation (ISRO), where he was the project director of India's first satellite launch vehicle SLV-3, which successfully deployed the Rohini satellite in near-Earth orbit in July 1980. Kalam had first started work on an expandable rocket project independently at DRDO in 1965. In 1969, Kalam received the government's approval and expanded the program to include more engineers. Kalam addresses engineering students at IIT Guwahati in 1963 to 1964. He visited Mrs. Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, and Wallops Flight Facility. Between the 1970s and 1990s, Kalam made an effort to develop the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle (PSLV) and SLV-3 projects, both of which proved to be successful. Kalam was invited by Raja Ramanna to witness the country's first nuclear test, smiling Buddha as the representative of TBRL, even though he had not participated in its development. In the 1970s, Kalam also directed 2 projects, Project Devil and Project Valiant, which sought to develop ballistic missiles from the technology of the successful SLV program. Despite the disapproval of the Union Cabinet, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi allotted secret funds for these aerospace projects through her discretionary powers under Kalam's directorship. Kalam played an integral role convincing the Union Cabinet to conceal the true nature of these classified aerospace projects. His research and educational leadership brought him great laurels and prestige in the 1980s, which prompted the government to initiate an advanced missile program under his directorship. Kalam and Dr. V.S. Arunachalam, metallurgist and scientific advisor to the Defence Minister, worked on the suggestion by the then Defence Minister R. Venkataraman on a proposal for simultaneous development of a quiver of missiles instead of taking planned missiles one after another. R. Venkataraman was instrumental in getting the cabinet approval for allocating 3.88 billion rupees for the mission, named Integrated Guided Missile Development Program (IGMDP), and appointed Kalam as the chief executive. Kalam played a major part in developing many missiles under the mission, including Agni, an intermediate-range ballistic missile, and Prithvi, the tactical surface-to-surface missile, although the projects have been criticized for mismanagement and cost and time overruns. Kalam served as the chief scientific advisor to the Prime Minister and Secretary of the Defence Research and Development Organisation from July 1992 to December 1999. The Pokhran II nuclear tests were conducted during this period, in which he played an intensive political and technological role. Kalam served as the chief project coordinator, along with Rajagopala Chidambaram, during the testing phase. Media coverage of Kalam during this period made him the country's best-known nuclear scientist. However, the director of the site test, K. Santhanam, said that the thermonuclear bomb had been fizzled, and criticized Kalam for issuing an incorrect report. Both Kalam and Chidambaram dismissed the claims. In 1998, along with Kalam served as the 11th President of India, succeeding K.R. Narayanan. He won the 2002 presidential election with an electoral vote of 922,884, surpassing the 107,366 votes won by Lakshmi Sehgal. His term lasted from the 25th of July 2002 to the 25th of July 2007. On the 10th of June 2002, the National Democratic Alliance (NDA), which was in power at the time, expressed that they would nominate Kalam for the post of president, and both the Samajwadi Party and the Nationalist Congress Party backed his candidacy. After the Samajwadi Party announced its support for Kalam, Narayanan chose not to seek a second term in office, leaving the field clear. Kalam said of the announcement of his candidature, "I am really overwhelmed. Everywhere, both in internet and in other media, I have been asked for a message. I was thinking what message I can give to the people of the country at this juncture." On the 18th of June, Kalam filed his nomination papers in the Indian Parliament, accompanied by Vajpayee and his senior cabinet colleagues. Kalam, along with Vladimir Putin and Manmohan Singh during his presidency. The polling for the presidential election began on the 15th of July 2002 in Parliament and the state assemblies, with the media claiming that the election was a one-sided affair and Kalam's victory was a foregone conclusion. The count was held on the 18th of July. Kalam became the 11th President of the Republic of India in an easy victory, and moved into the Rashtrapati Bhavan after he was sworn in on the 25th of July. Kalam was the third President of India to have been honoured with the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honour, before becoming the President. Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan (1954) and Dr. Zakir Hussain (1963) were the earlier recipients of Bharat Ratna who later became the President of India. He was also the first scientist and the first bachelor to occupy Rashtrapati Bhavan. During his term as President, he was affectionately known as the People's President, saying that signing the Office of Profit Bill was the toughest decision he had taken during his tenure. Kalam was criticized for his inaction in deciding the fate of 20 out of the 21 mercy petitions submitted to him during his tenure. Article 72 of the Constitution of India empowers the President of India to grant pardons and suspend or commute the death sentence of convicts on death row. Kalam acted on only one mercy plea in his 5-year tenure as president, rejecting the plea of rapist Dhananjay Chatterjee, who was later hanged. Perhaps the most notable plea was from Afzal Guru, a Kashmiri terrorist who was convicted of conspiracy in the December 2001 attack on the Indian Parliament and was sentenced to death by the Supreme Court of India in 2004. While the sentence was scheduled to be carried out on the 20th of October 2006, the pending action on his mercy plea resulted in him remaining on death row. He also took the controversial decision to impose President's rule in Bihar in 2005. In September 2003, in an interactive session in PGI Chandigarh, Kalam supported the need of uniform civil code in India, keeping in view the population of the country. At the end of his term, on the 20th of June 2007, Kalam expressed his willingness to consider a second term in office provided there was certainty about his victory in the 2007 presidential election. However, 2 days later, he decided not to contest the presidential election again, stating that he wanted to avoid involving Rashtrapati Bhavan from any political processes. He did not have the support of the left parties, Shiv Sena and UPA constituents, to receive a renewed mandate. Nearing the expiry of the term of the 12th President Pratibha Patil on the 24th of July 2012, media reports in April claimed that Kalam was likely to be nominated for his second term. After the reports, social networking sites witnessed a number of people supporting his candidature. The BJP potentially backed his nomination, saying that the party would lend their support if the Trinamool Congress, Samajwadi Party and Indian National Congress proposed him for the 2012 presidential election. A month ahead of the election, Mulayam Singh Yadav and Mamata Banerjee also expressed their support for Kalam. Days afterwards, Mulayam Singh Yadav backed out, leaving Mamata Banerjee as the solitary supporter. On the 18th of June 2012, Kalam declined to contest the 2012 presidential poll. He said of his decision not to do so, Many citizens have also expressed the same wish. It only reflects their love and affection for me and the aspiration of the people. I am really overwhelmed by this support. This being their wish, I respect it. I want to thank them for the trust they have in me. After leaving office, Kalam became a visiting professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and the Indian Institute of Management, Indore, an honorary fellow of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Chancellor of the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram, Professor of Aerospace Engineering at Anna University, and an adjunct at many other academic and research institutions across India. He taught information technology at the International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad, and technology at Banaras Hindu University and Anna University. In May 2012, Kalam launched a program for the youth of India called the What Can I Give movement, with the central theme of defeating corruption. In 2011, Kalam was criticized by civil groups over his stand on the Kodunkulam nuclear power plant. He supported the establishment of the nuclear power plant and was accused of not speaking with the local people. The protesters were hostile to his visit as they saw him as a pro-nuclear scientist and were unimpressed by the assurances he provided regarding the safety features of the plant. On the 27th of July 2015, Kalam travelled to Shillong to deliver a lecture on creating a livable planet Earth at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong. While climbing a flight of stairs, he experienced some discomfort, but was able to enter the auditorium after a brief rest. At around 6:35 p.m. IST, only 5 minutes into his lecture, he collapsed. He was rushed to the nearby Bethany Hospital in a critical condition. Upon arrival, he lacked a pulse or any other signs of life, despite being placed in the intensive care unit. Kalam was confirmed dead of a sudden cardiac arrest at 7:45 p.m. IST 87. His last words to his aides Rajan Pal Singh were reportedly, "Funny guy. Are you doing well?" Following his death, Kalam's body was airlifted in an Indian Air Force helicopter from Shillong to Guwahati, from where it was flown to New Delhi on the morning of the 28th of July in an Air Force C-130J Hercules. The flight landed at Palam Air Base that afternoon and was received by the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, Chief Minister of Delhi Arvind Kejriwal, and the three service chiefs of the Indian Armed Forces, who laid wreaths on Kalam's body. His body was then placed on a gun carriage draped with the Indian flag and taken to his Delhi residence at 10 Rajaji Marg. There, the public and numerous dignitaries paid homage, including former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi, and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav. On the morning of the 29th of July, Kalam's body, wrapped in the Indian flag, was taken to Palam Air Base and flown to Madurai in an Air Force C-130J aircraft, arriving at Madurai Airport that afternoon. His body was received at the airport by the three service chiefs and national and state dignitaries, including Cabinet Ministers Manohar Parrikar, Venki Naidu, Paur Radhakrishnan, and the governors of Tamil Nadu and Meghalaya, K. Rosaiah and V. Shanmuganathan. After a brief ceremony, Kalam's body was flown by Air Force helicopter to the town of Mandapam, from where it was taken in an army truck to his hometown of Rameshwaram. Upon arriving at Rameshwaram, his body was displayed in an open area in front of the local bus station to allow the public to pay their final respects until 8 p.m. that evening. On the 30th of July 2015, the former president was laid to rest at Rameshwaram's Karumbu ground with full state honors. Over 350,000 people attended the last rites, including the Prime Minister, the Governor of Tamil Nadu and the Chief Ministers of Karnataka, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh.